join my colleagues in expressing my dismay that you'll be leaving us. You've been a great mentor to me, and let me point out that unfortunately your departure reduces the ranks of the computer scientists in Congress by one. And so I would suggest that in addition to the responsibility for training more computer scientists, which I know you will do as president of a university, you now have a responsibility to send more of them here, because I would say we're underrepresented. All right, I appreciate that. Mr. Goffman, I appreciate your testimony today. I wanted to continue a line of questioning about the methane emissions charge that's part of this proposed rule. Obviously we are, the EPA is going to impose a charge on the emissions of methane during the production of energy and set that at an appropriate level to hopefully incentivize people to, instead of paying the charge, to invest in the technology to reduce methane emissions. But one way or the other, these producers are going to pass that charge along to their customers in the form of increased energy prices. I'm gratified to learn that the EPA has done some investigation of how much that's going to increase energy prices. I heard you say earlier that it would be about $0.25 a barrel. Is that correct, for oil?
That's for the Clean Air Act regulation that we
Okay, so talking about specifically natural gas, how much will the methane emissions charge increase the price of natural gas to consumers?
On the methane emissions charge, we haven't released the proposal yet, so we haven't released the answer to that question. We intend to issue the proposal very, very shortly, and we'll be sharing with the public the answer to that question, which is what we think the impact will be on consumers, and I'll make sure that we follow up with you directly. One of the things that Congress, it wasn't really us, it was Congress that I think deserves the credit for such a well-designed program, is that Congress set the level of emissions and the efficiency quotient that defines whether an operation is liable for a charge or not. We think, and we've gotten feedback in this area, that a number of operators will invest in their own operations to increase their efficiency.
I'm sorry to interrupt. My time is limited here. I mean, the point is that regardless of whether or not you choose to pay the fee or you choose to make an investment in more efficient operations, your costs go up, therefore the cost of producing the energy goes up. So you're saying you don't have that information today?
Because the proposal is still being wrapped up and we haven't released it publicly yet. So
all right. Are you also going to do an analysis of how much, since the cost of energy is a primary driver in the cost of living, how much that's going to increase poverty in the United States?
We'll be looking at the consumer impacts.
Okay, and I would imagine you're also going to be looking at how much, since the cost of energy is one of the primary drivers of inflation, and since that's been one of the primary things that has been causing misery for Americans over the last 18 months, are you also going to do analysis of how much this rule is going to increase inflation?
I understand the question. I think it's there are others who will be looking at that in addition to the agency.
I'm sorry, others, not the EPA?
No, that's not. We analyzed specifically the impact of the proposed charge.
Okay, so you'll be releasing an analysis of how much you think this will increase the cost of energy, how much you won't think it will increase the rate of poverty, but not how much it will increase inflation.
We'll be focused on the impact on the cost of oil and natural gas.
Okay. How about, I mean, obviously, since this is a cost that we're imposing on U.S. producers, but not on producers of foreign energy that's imported into the country, will there also be an analysis of how much this will shift consumption potentially to foreign sources of energy instead of domestically produced?
At a literal level, I'm not sure that we're looking at that, but I do want to emphasize that this is a rule that's intended, or rather, it's a statutory provision that's intended to promote increased efficiency of operations, which as we've seen, really contributes to U.S. leadership globally in this sector.
Okay, I mean, I understand, and I see I'm out of time, but just making the point, I mean, we can claim moral leadership in imposing this type of regulation. But if this regulation increases the cost of domestic energy and forces American consumers to consume imported energy, that's not showing economic leadership. Those are very different things. So I'm looking forward to seeing the results of these analyses. In particular, I'm concerned about the economic costs of these EPA rules on the consumers that I represent, because they're already struggling to afford the energy that they're buying today. And if it's more expensive in the future as a result of what the EPA has done, that's of concern to me. So I'll look forward to reviewing those, and thank you for your testimony today. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.